Now that you've downloaded the data from Indiana Map, it's important to go ahead and bring it into the ArcMap environment and start to manipulate this data so that we can symbolize it and really kind of focus in on what do we need to create our base map and then the subsequent maps of downtown West Lafayette, so the site analysis diagrams. So, with the 4 layers you've downloaded, they're actually all represented on here, you can actually see that I've started the process of diagramming, or of going ahead and symbolizing these. But there's one that we should take a quick look at. So the one that you're seeing right now in this kind of, light green color is actually the county boundaries layer. And the reason that we brought this down is that you'll see here that I went ahead and clicked and turned on the county land parcels layer. This is a very, very large data set. It's tens of thousands of polygons that you can see graphically just shows up very, very slowly, even on this machine that works quite quickly on most things. And it's just a function of how big and complex the data is that we're trying to visualize here. So what I'd strongly recommend doing is that let's go ahead and just pick out Tippecanoe County. So we're just dealing with a subset of this data, so we're not waiting around for 10 or 15 or longer, or more minutes for the data to load each time that we're doing it. To stop the graphic operation, you hit the escape key, and then I would suggest going ahead and unclicking, and actually make it so we're not seeing the land parcel data. But that's just so that every time it starts a new operation, it doesn't try and reload that layer on us. So in order to go ahead and cut out just Tippecanoe County, there's a couple things we need to know. One, we can use the Identify tool to come in and see this is Tippecanoe County. It has a field identification number of 31, and that's really important because what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and just open up your attributes table, come down here to FID 31. We're going to go ahead and click on it, and I'm going to close out of that. You see I've got a blue selection field around it. I'm going to go to my selection, and I'm going to create a layer from selected features. Now this is just a temporary layer. We don't need it for anything else. So this yellow layer is just something that we're going to use just for a few minutes to cut out the county land parcels information, or the land parcels layer. So, one way to go about doing this, and this would be the initial inclination, is that we would jump straight into our analysis tools. We'd go to extract and go to clip and cut out all of those parcels. I'm going to advise you against ever doing this though, right? I just tried a few minutes ago to see what would happen, and it locked up my computer for about 10 minutes, right? The reason being is that cutting or clipping a parcel database is so complicated because you're splitting, even within Tippecanoe County, you think about around all the properties that cross over the county boundary lines, right? There's hundreds and hundreds of different parcels that would have to be analyzed and regenerated in that process. And so at best case scenario, you're going to turn it on and sit for half an hour and hope that it goes through. A better approach is actually to use a selection tool. This is called Select by Location. And Select by Location allows me to go into the county land parcels layer, right? So my purple layer, that's what I wanted, county land parcels. And I'm going to say that I want to go into my selection layer. I'm going to select from the county land parcels layer only information that intersects with my Tippecanoe County selection layer. And so I'm going to go ahead and hit apply. Now you're not going to see anything come up on the screen, and the reason for this is that I have it currently turned off, and it's to speed things up, because now that I'm done with that, I hit OK. It should go ahead and give me a relatively quick output. I'm going to go ahead and pause here real quick. Oh, don't need to. It should have come up. And so what I'm going to do is that I'm going to show you, I hope I'm going to show you relatively quickly, what this did for us. While this is loading, I am going to go ahead and hit pause and let the screen come up. And so if you followed along with me on that step and accidentally turned on the statewide land parcels layer, go ahead and hit the escape key and turn that back off again, because I sat for about almost 10 minutes just to show you what I'm showing you here, which is that you'll see that just the parcels that are inside of Tippecanoe County are selected, which is really all that we need in this situation. So from that, I can actually just go ahead and select and create a layer from selected features. Real quick, I'm going to make sure I turn that off. We'll be sitting here quite a while. At this point, I don't need that layer anymore. I just need this layer here at the end, and I could go ahead and turn this into a permanent layer. If it stays a selection layer, as soon as I go ahead and close out of ArcMap here, this layer will disappear forever. Now, if you've already kicked this out, and you're done with this, that'd be great. But if you want it to save, you go ahead and right-click on it, go to Export Data, go ahead and find your folder where you want to store this information. You would select a shapefile, give it a name, something like Tippecanoe County Parcels 2018, right? And hit save, and away we go, right? This would be a real easy way. For right now, I'm actually I have it saved elsewhere, so I'm not gonna double save it here at this point in time for me. What I am gonna do now is I am gonna go ahead and I'm gonna zoom into this layer. All right, and so you see Tippecanoe County kind of jumps in here, and then I'm actually going to go ahead and zoom again. I know that downtown Lafayette is kind of the center of this gray area here. Here's the Wabash River cutting through the middle. I'm going to go ahead and zoom in on West Lafayette. And you'll start to see that, you can get a sense for, here's, Brown Street, here. All right, here's, that's actually 26. This is Old Brown Street, right? And so I can see that this is generally the area that I'm working in. And if you're struggling with that, one thing you can always do, I happen to know just from looking at this and knowing that's where I can find it, but something else you can always do is I can go ahead and add a base map. A very easy base map is just go ahead and grab the Streets menu. In that case, I can go ahead, I can go ahead and turn off my county parcel layer. Let's see if it'll let me. All right, there. Turn off my county parcel layer. This now will actually allow me to go ahead and zoom in. I can see that I've got all the way from Memorial Mall down to through the levee. Again, State Street, Brown Street, right? All of that. Looks like I'm getting into the right area, so I have the information that I need. For right now, I'm going to go ahead and turn off my base map, at least turn off that base map. I'm going to go ahead and double check that I have everything that I need, right? So building footprints, road center lines, and my parcels information. I'm actually going to go ahead and hollow those out real quick. Put those underneath. I have 1, 2, 3 layers of information. If I go back and check my base map here, I've got those 3 layers, plus I have labels on all of my roads. Now, there's a couple things you can do with labeling on the roads. So one thing we know is that if I open up my attribute table for that layer, I can come over here to street name, and you're going to see that there are street names behind every one of those there. The quick and easy thing to do in GIS is that I could go ahead and right click on it, and I can go to label features, and you can see it brings up labels all over the place. The problem with that is when I export it, it actually exports together with the street line work itself, and I actually kind of want that separate. So what I'm going to do real quick is I'm going to go ahead and just turn that off. I'm going to create a copy of this. So I right click on that layer, create a copy, go up to layers, and I'm going to go paste layer. I'm going to come in here, I'm going to say no color because I don't need a duplicate of that layer, but I am going to go ahead and go back and click label features. Once I've gone to label features, you can see that the names are probably a little bit too big. So I'm going to double click on the layer itself. And underneath here, I'm going to come in and I'm going to change this back out. Let's see what 18 does real quick. Perfect, right? Bring those in. I now have a layer that has my street names on it. I have, actually move that out of my way. I have the county street center lines. All right, laid out there. I have my building footprints and I have my parcel layers. This is everything that I need to create a simple base map. Now, one of the things I just noticed as I was playing around with this is you have some options on where those labels get placed on the roads. And so one of those places you can put is to come back in, and I'm going to say that I want those position on the line You're going to see real quick that all that does is it's going to center up all of those street name labels so that I can actually see the street grid. All right, stick with me. We've got just one last step in the process. This is everything that we needed. Now, we could also go download some additional information at this point in time and bring it in to help support all of this. But we need to go ahead and jump over into Paperspace. So this is where we're going to pick up in the next video.